cuties, welcome back to my review for the Stitch Happy. Finally, I know it's taken me a while to get it, but we're just gonna hop right in. So I am going to share with you what my thoughts are on the sewing machine. This is pretty much a first impressions because I just started sewing with this today, and I'm also going to do a demo. So really quick, the details. I got this sewing machine on craftdirect.com. I know that some of you also ordered it from there, and there were some delays on shipping, but honestly, besides that, I was really happy. The company kept me updated, and it really wasn't their fault while there was a delay. It was more of we are memory keepers, so I'm happy on that part because I've also made other orders with the company and have always had quick shipping. I paid around $100 because there was a sale, and I do see that it's available there right now for $119 with free shipping. So depending on if that availability has changed or not, I'll have a link below where you can get it. So let's just start off with my first impression, my actual first impression, as I did want to test this out a bit before starting to film. And to be honest, I was a little frustrated getting it to start out. I saw a few reviews already, and quite a let's see, I think it was Melody Lane had a review, and she showed a little pack of needles that she got, and they were all labeled, but mine just came with two different needles that were wrapped in this little, I don't know, this little pack right here, and they're not labeled at all. And I am a beginner sewer, so I don't know by just looking at these which needle is for what. So I'm just using the needle that is on here, and I did find that to be a little frustrating. The other thing is I did try using the baker's twine. The reason I wanted this sewing machine was for paper crafting and to use baker's twine. And the baker's twine completely got all tangled up, so I imagine that's because this is the wrong needle, but again, I don't see it labeled which needle it is, so I will have to play around with the baker's twine in the future. I switched it back to the thread that was on here when I got it, which is just normal thread. I do find that the tension feels pretty tight even if I take it to a 0, but I read somewhere that you can oil the machine and that should help. The thing is since I am a beginner, I want this to be a really easy machine. I just want to be able to turn it on and go. I want it to be smooth, and that's just what I expect out of a sewing machine. I do not have time to oil machines or clean machines like, you know, constantly. I know that's something that you need to keep up with on a regular basis, but just to have to be able to do those things to get started, a little frustrating, but not a deal breaker. It is very cute. So why don't I bring you in a little bit closer and I can show you a demo. So I want to show you really quick all of the details. These are the different stitching options that the sewing machine has. It was fairly easy to get all threaded. I did just follow the directions that come in the little pamphlet here, and that was really easy to follow even being a beginner. I did the same for the bobbin, and again, that was all pretty easy. It does have this little drawer over here with some extra things in here. It has the baker's twine and, like I said, those two extra needles. I did check the box to make sure that my needles weren't in a different spot, and they're not in there, so I'm not sure if they just didn't get placed in my box or what. It does come with a little brush for cleaning and whatnot. I will have to read a little bit more on the oiling because I didn't actually see that in the pamphlet when I was reading as like a requirement, but I probably will have to do that since the tension was tight for me. Let's go ahead and start sewing. So let's get started, guys. I do have the zigzag stitch selected right now. I thought that would be a fun one to start with. I double checked my threading and tension, and I'm going to put the presser foot down, and let's just go ahead. So this will be the third time that I've sewn, so not very many times, but I did really want to give you guys a first impression somewhat. Okay, so let's see how that did. And I do find that on my other sewing machine I can just pull this and it's loose enough to you know, pull away, but for this one I do have to press over this tension rod, I believe it's called, to release some of the tension. It's still pretty tight. I have it on a 2, and the pamphlet suggests having it on a 3 or 4 for paper, but I tried that at first and it was way too tight. So again, I'm assuming I'm going to have to oil. Okay, sorry, I'll give you a better close-up view here. So this is what the zigzag looks like. I do think that's pretty cool. I'm going to, let's just go ahead and try one more. We'll do this scalloped one here. Okay, whoops. Whoops, bring the needle up. Keep in mind, I'm a beginner, guys, but I know a lot of you are as well. That didn't look like... Okay, okay, cool. Oh, and you know, that was much easier this time. Okay, so I'm gonna use this little part here to trim. So this is what the scalloped thread looks like. If we could get that to focus there. I think that's really cool. I do wish that you could choose like the length between each stitch. I can do that on my other machine, but I mean, again, it's not a big deal. I'm just telling you guys all of my honest, you know, thoughts as they come. And then let's go ahead and just do a straight stitch. I am very, very happy that this is feeling pretty good and it's sewing pretty well, you know. Oh, okay, well that came undone, so. Oh, that actually, I think, like broke off. So let's see what's going on here, guys. Okay, that came unthreaded, so I'm gonna go ahead and see. I'm just doing this quickly. I can definitely do a video on threading, but I don't feel comfortable because I'm not a pro, so I could very well be doing something wrong. I've had quite a good amount of practice on my other sewing machine and I never have issues, so, you know, it's not brand new to me, but okay, pull that through. It just feels so tight and I'm pretty certain that's why this got pulled off. Okay guys, I got it rethreaded, and again, I can do a threading tutorial at some point, but I just want to focus on the review here, so I'll have to press this over, and I mean, it's definitely not perfect. So I went ahead and I changed the needle to the biggest needle, which I assume would be the multimedia needle, and I'm going to go ahead and try. Again, this feels extremely tight, so I don't know. We'll just see. I'll do a straight stitch for this one, and let's hope for this. Got jammed. Had a feeling that was gonna happen. It just feels way too tight. So that didn't work. I wanted to mention, I realized I did not release the tension rod right after this. I did realize afterwards that that's something you have to do every single time. But even with doing that, I feel like the tension is so tight on this machine and I just don't feel like you should have to do a bunch of extra steps to get the tension to feel, you know, normal so that you're not breaking needles. That's just me. Trying again, guys. It seemed like it was working at first, which is why I turned the camera on, but it's not, so. So I am definitely going to play around with this sewing machine a bit. Since my other sewing machine is so easy, it was literally just, I took it out of the box and it was easy to go, you know, it's like a point and shoot camera. I saw someone comment kind of making that comparison, and that's a really good comparison, and that's what I'm looking for in a sewing machine, is like the, you know, the same idea as a point and shoot camera. You can take it out of the box and just go. And I honestly feel like I'm going to have to put a little bit of time and energy into learning how this machine works. I am probably going to have to figure out how to oil it. I'm okay with those things. I think it's, I guess, all right for the $100 price range, but knowing that there are some other machines out there for that price range or less that I know from experience work even better, in my opinion. I'm not really sure if I would recommend this to someone, especially if you are a beginner sewer. And I say beginner because I imagine that if someone's a beginner, they would probably want to spend around that price range or the least amount possible for a sewing machine. I think that this might turn you away from sewing if it was your very first time and you're like, oh, this is really difficult. And I'm just pointing that out there because it can be a lot easier. Maybe after I oil the machine, I'll have different thoughts. But I will say, in comparison to my other sewing machine, this does have, let's see, I think like 5 or 6 different stitching options. But I know that at this price point, you can get other sewing machines that do have a lot more options. And again, the sewing machine, you know, says that it has the ability to sew and do like mixed media projects using the baker's twine. And it's supposed to be meant for sewing on paper, but my other sewing machine sews on paper just fine. I haven't tried baker's twine, but honestly, my first use of the baker's twine on the sewing machine did not work. I am going to change out the needles, and I can add in a clip if I end up being able to sew with the baker's twine on a different needle. But since my needles are not labeled, I'm probably gonna have to, you know, mess around with that quite a bit. And just to say once again, I did see 2 other people unbox their sewing machines, and they did have sewing needles that were labeled. So I'm guessing I ended up just getting a box that didn't have that. Now, I don't want this to be a reflection on Craft Direct as a company, since that's where I ordered it from. And honestly, even with the delays, I was happy with the purchase from them, especially because I've ordered things besides the sewing machine, things that were not a pre-order, and I was happy with it. They communicated with me, they let me know what was going on. As just a really final thought, I gotta say I'm a little bummed that this didn't work out better, and I actually went ahead and watched a few more reviews that I found on YouTube, and I noticed that everyone else got 3 colors of the baker's twine as well, and I only got the one pink, and I showed that my needles came just wrapped in this thing right here, and everyone else got like an actual pack that said Stitch Happy, and it had all of the sizes. So I mean, I could very well have got one that was like opened and used. I don't really know. I am going to email Craft Direct, and I can keep you updated with what happens with that. Thank you for watching this review. I hope it was helpful, and let me know if you bought one, if you're having trouble with it, or maybe it's just me. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.